Hello Lightsabers, Miss Marsh here. So today we're going to look at translated form of linear equations. What you're going to want to have on you today, you're going to want to have your notes and then a pen or a pencil. Your learning goals for today, I can write an equation of a line using translated form, and I can convert a translated form into slope-intercept form. So basically what today is going to be is another way to write a linear equation when given a slope and a point or just 2 points. This is going to not have to make us solve for b when we have an x and a y intercept. It's going to allow us just to write the equation straight up. So here's what translated form looks like. F of x equals m times the parentheses x, either plus h or minus h. That's what this means right here. This either be plus h or minus h, and then plus or minus k, whichever one it's going to be. Now your m is your slope. Kind of like for mx plus b, m was the slope. So m is still our slope. And then the h tells us, did you move left or right from 0? So that means if my x value of my ordered pair you're given, or that point, tells you if I would move to the left or to the right. The k tells us, did you move up or down with your y value? Here's how you're going to know if it's going to be x plus h or x minus h. So if the x value of the point you're given would be on the left of 0, i.e. it is a negative number, there will be x plus that number inside the parentheses. So if I would have the x value of negative 4 for my point, the inside of the parentheses would have x plus 4. So you're probably thinking, that's kind of backwards. It is. It does have a little bit of a backwards feeling because you're going to the left. Most of us assume if you're going to the left of 0, you're going to have a negative. So most of you are going to want to write x minus 4. But it's actually backwards. Here's how I think it. I like to think, how did I get 0 if I plug in a number for x? So negative 4 would get me 0 inside the parentheses. Thus, I have to have x plus 4. Okay? Same thing if the x value of the point would be on the right side of 0, i.e. it's a positive number, there will be x minus that number inside the parentheses. So if my x value would be, let's say 6, the inside of the parentheses would have x minus 6, because you're actually going to subtract. Still kind of backwards from what you think it should be. Because we're going to the right of 0, you would think it's actually plus, but it's actually subtract. It's opposite of what you think it should do. What about that plus or minus k? We need to know when is it going to be plus k and when is it going to be minus k. So if the y value would be down from 0, aka it's a negative number, there would be a subtract that number on the outside of the parentheses. So this is exactly what we think it would do. If the y value of the point would be negative 4, the right outside the parentheses, right here, would be negative 4. So I'd have a subtract 4 on the outside there. If the y value is up from 0, i.e. it's a positive number, there will be a plus that number on the outside. So if my y value of my point would be 2, I would go up 2, so I'd have a plus 2 on the outside of the parentheses right here. Let's try just identifying what point we used. So I have this equation of a linear function. This is an equation, just not nice looking, not in y equals mx plus b form, but nevertheless it's an equation, and I need to find the ordered pair. So notice here how it's x minus 3. So we know inside here we moved left or right, right? And since it's negative, think you're going to go opposite of what you think. So we think it would be negative 3. That would be my x value. But actually, since it's a minus, it's going to be opposite. So my x value would be 3. Now it's up 5. That's what this means right here. This means up 5. Okay? So up 5, so if you go from 0, you go up 5, you would go to 5 on the y-axis, right? What's my slope? Well, it's this number right here. So my m is 2. Let's look here. So when I have a plus on the inside, if I flip back, if I have a plus on the inside, that means my point is to the left of 0. So I'm going to the left-hand side. So my x value would be not positive 2, but negative 2. And then I went down 9. So this was left 2, and this was down 9. You're going to want to make sure you write these equations out so that way you kind of have an idea of what these are meaning. Down 9, well, down 9 would be minus 9 for my ordered pair. And my slope, right sitting in front, 1/2. So now let's go backwards. What if I give you the point and you get the slope as well? Well, you're going to say, well, we already know how to do this. We're going to plug in that point, find the slope, find our b. This is going to be a lot quicker than that for most of you, actually. So we're going to use our formula, f of x equals m, right up here, m x plus or minus h plus or minus k. All right, so my m is my slope, so this is the m. So I'm going to put a 3 there. Now, I need to think, with this ordered pair, this is going to make me move right 3 from 0, 0, right? To graph this ordered pair, or this point, you're going to go right 3, and then I want to go down 5, right? So right 3 would mean that we would go to the right. Now remember, it's backwards from what you think, so it shouldn't be x plus 3, it's actually going to be x minus 3, because it's backwards from what you think. Down 5, if you look back in the last slide there, down 5 meant we went minus 5 on the outside. Just like that. And that's actually done. I don't need to simplify. We're going to do that on our next slide. But this is actually the equation of my line. You do not need to simplify unless I specifically ask you to. Okay? So it's a lot easier, not as much math involved, really. Let's go ahead and do this one. So I got f of x equals, let's put our slope in, 1/2. Okay, and then let's think of our ordered pair here. So this is going to make me move left 4, and this is going to make me move up 2. Well, I know outside the parentheses I'm going to have plus 2 because that means up 2, right? Left 4, remember, you're going to go backwards from what you think. So instead of x minus 4, you're going to have x plus 4 because you're going to the left. So remember, always backwards from the sign that you originally had for your x. And that one's done as well. Let's try it when I'm just given points. And then I'm going to convert these into slope-intercept just to show you that you can do that as well. So remember my slope formula. You still need to get the slope out of this. So make sure you go y's over x's. A few of you have been having a little bit of trouble with that. So I have x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I get negative 1 over 4. So my slope is negative 1/4. Now we can put it in our equation. So f of x equals negative 1/4. Now, which equation do I use? Well, which point do I use? You can use both. You'll get the same answer. All right? Doesn't matter. You can use both points. You'll still get the same answer at the end. I'm going to use 6, 4. Well, because why not? So this is going to make me move right 6 and up 4, right? So right 6, remember it's going to be opposite, so it's going to be x minus 6, and then up 4 plus 4. Now, what am I going to do to be able to convert this into slope-intercept form? Basically, I want it to look like mx plus b. None of this parenthesis stuff. Basically, all you need to do is multiply the slope in. So I have negative 1/4 x, and then 1/4 times 6. Well, that's just 6/4, right? Which is the same as 1.5, right? 6 over 4. That should be 1.5. And then I still have this plus 4 hanging out in the back half, right? Well, this could have been done with a calculator. Let's add these two together in our head, though. So I'll have negative, whoa, little mess up there, negative 1/4 x, 1.5 plus 4, well, that's just 5.5. Let's leave it like that. That's the equation of my line and slope intercept form. So these two equations right here are equivalent, which means they are equal to one another. There's no change between the two except they're just in different forms. Let's try it again. So I have x1, y1, x2, y2. So I have 2 minus 6 over negative 9 minus 3. So that is negative 4 over negative 12. So that is 1/3 if I simplify down, right? And make sure you always simplify your slopes. So my slope is 1/3. Make sure I label that there. So let's go and plug that into our equation. So 1/3. Now, which ordered pair do I want to use? Well, since I used the second one here, let's use the first one here. So right 3, up 6, right? So opposite of what I think, and then up 6. Let's convert it into slope intercept. Distribute my 1/3 in there, so I get 1/3 x. 1/3 of negative 3 is just negative 1 plus 6. So I'd get 1/3 x. Negative 1 plus 6 is 5. Imagine getting that when we would actually have to solve for b. I think this one would have been horrible to try to solve for b for, because you'd get 5 1/2, you're going to get a lot of fractions. This prevents you from getting as many fractions, and you don't have to solve. There's less room for error. What about graphing using these? So let's find the equation, and then we're going to graph it. So negative 2, 8, and my slope is 5. So this went left 2, up 8. So I get to start writing. My slope is 5, so that goes outside the parentheses there. I went left 2, so opposite, x plus 2, and then I went up 8. Just like that. Oops. So let's go ahead and graph this equation. Basically, all you need to do is go to this ordered pair, negative 2, 8. Okay. And then up 5. Well, that's going to take us off graph. Let's go downwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I gotta go left 1 because I need a positive slope on this baby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like this. Let's see if I can connect with a straight line today. Hot dog! I connected with a straight line. Now, notice, guys, this would have been hard to find the y-intercept of. So if I would distribute this in to actually find out what my y-intercept was, I would have had to graph the equation 5x plus 18. That would have been really hard to graph. So this allows me to find the point, find the slope, plug it in, graph it. All is done in the world. And that's the end of this video. See you later, Sabers.